We're just having a little fun, trying to wake up on our Thursday live stream, coming to you live from the Lamppost Coffee Shop in the Austin, Texas area. My name is Mitch. Yeehaw! How's everyone doing today? Welcome to our friends on Facebook who are in this camera right here, and to our friends on YouTube. Come by and join us for some coffee, some tea, whatever floats your boat. Jump into chat. We're talking personal branding this week. Personal branding. How to build your personal brand. So hang around. I'm trying to stream both on Facebook and on YouTube. I don't know how long it'll last because the Wi-Fi may give out on me, but we'll give it a shot. So jump in and join us for as long as you can. Now, if you're on Facebook, all you can see is the camera on my iPhone. So that's the best you can do right there. This right here is Facebook. Sorry about that. That's all you're going to get is Facebook and audio. But you need to come over to our channel on YouTube if you want to have the entire interactive experience of our fun and frivolity, so that you can see the things that we bring on screen and all that kind of good stuff. Facebook, all I can do is send the feed through the secondary camera here on the iPhone, so that and the audio is about all you're going to get. So come over to YouTube. You'll find the link in the description. We're at Even Rabbits on YouTube, so come and join us over there. We're just going to hang out today, not talk about much of anything except maybe building our personal brand. Who doesn't want to build their personal brand? I mean, come on, let's get real here. We all want to build a personal brand. That's about all we've got left in this world. Everything else has been taken. Everything else has been taken away. All we have left is what God gave us. Our own personality, our own lives, our own branding. So if you're trying to build a business, or if you're trying to start a presence on social media, if you're trying to start a YouTube channel, if you've got a small business or you're trying to grow a business of some kind, you need a personal brand. You need to think about building a brand around your own life and your own personality, and get on social media. That's the name of the game, and I'm gonna stick to it. That's what I believe. I believe that everybody ought to be on social media because it's free. Think about that. Think about in the old days how you used to have to pay for newspaper advertising, pay for billboards, pay for all of the advertising if you do in magazines or any kind of flyers and all that kind of stuff. When I was in real estate, I spent a fortune on prints and flyers and all kinds of media that I had to pay for. I had to buy ads in magazines and all kinds of stuff. But all that's been blown out the window by social media. Social media is absolutely free, so why aren't you using it? Just putting the question out there. So, what we're talking about all week is personal branding. And here are some notes that I've been taking all week to try to get us up to snuff on the idea of branding. Now, if you've got something else you want to talk about, feel free to jump into chat and let me know. I mean, I don't have any particular agenda. I'm just trying to fill in the content gap here. There is a content gap when you're doing a live stream. If no one's going to sit around and talk to you, I can't just sit here and stare out the window and talk to myself. I've got to come up with some content, and so What I'm commenting on today and this week is personal branding. And here are some notes that I've been taking along the way. First of all, let me give you some updates here about the live stream. I started this live stream back in October, and tomorrow will be live stream number 50, a big 50, which is a milestone. I feel like 50 live streams is a pretty good experiment. It's given me enough information and enough data and enough experience to kind of figure things out a little bit better. Now I kind of know a little bit more about what I'm dealing with. So I think what we're going to do starting next week is we're going to back off on our daily live stream. I know. Don't get upset. I know you're going to cry. I know you're going to miss me. But I think I'm going to back off. I'm going to back off a little bit on the daily live streams because of the timing. I need time to produce and create videos, and doing a live stream every day takes about 3 hours of my day. So figure 15-20 hours a week is taken up just by doing a live stream each day. So I'm gonna have to back off a little bit, and I think I'm going to do a live stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting next week, and occasionally a Saturday if I feel up to it and I feel like I've got something to share. But Tuesdays and Thursdays are going to be live stream from the Lamppost Coffee Shop, and then I'll use Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to produce videos and to get back to the production of regular videos, and I need the time to do that. So that's what we're going to try to do. That's what we're going to work on throughout the remainder of the year. So starting next week, we'll go Tuesdays and Thursday, and that will give me some time during the week to, because I've got 3 channels that I need to produce content for. And if I just look at this channel alone, I could spend 50 hours a week just on this channel alone. So here I'm trying to do 3. And so I've got to be realistic and think about my priorities. And my priorities are creating content on videos, not live streaming. So live streaming is going to have to share my week with the production of videos. And so that's the name of the game. That's where we're headed. So, but as far this week, I want to bring up I need some music here in the background. Let's see what we got here. Bringing me back to my old days when I was a disc jockey in radio, spinning records. Now instead of spinning records, I'm using computer files. We want something sort of quiet, soft in the background, don't we? It is a Thursday. Is this Thursday music? Is this good personal branding music? Maybe. But right now, what do you think? Get in the chat and let me know. You people on Facebook, you can't hear this music, I'm sorry. You need to come over to YouTube at Even Rabbits and you can hear the music. All you're going to get on Facebook is my voice, my golden throat. All right, personal branding. Are there any other updates, any other odds and ends I need to think about? I guess not. That's about it. This idea of intellectual property, when we're talking about personal branding, what exactly is intellectual property, and how does that tie in to our personal brand? Well, let's see if we can define it. Intellectual property, or an IP, is anything you create with your mind. Anything you create with your mind that the law allows you to own, just like physical property. So anything I come up with in my poor little brain, the law is going to allow me to own that, just like if I was owning real estate. It protects original ideas, creative work, inventions, branding, proprietary knowledge, so others can't copy, sell, or profit from it without permission. So an IP is a big part of our branding. Intellectual properties. And if we try to think in terms of our intellectual property being something we can create and sell once it becomes successful, then we're on the right track. Because believe it or not, there are markets in place for people to buy YouTube channels. If you have a YouTube channel that's monetized and bringing in, let's say, $500 a month, and you want to get out of the YouTube business, well, there is somebody who will buy your channel from you. It's generating $500 a month already, so it's worth something. It's got some value. But because it's an IP, it's an intellectual property, they're going to have to pay you for it. They're going to have to buy it. That's an example of an IP. Or let's say you create a t-shirt company where you're selling t-shirts and it becomes a success. And you're generating $2,000 a month in t-shirt sales. Well, that's got some value. Maybe you want to get out of the t-shirt business, and so you put that business up for sale. And you may not own anything at all. You may not have an inventory because all of your t-shirts are done print on demand. So basically, you really don't own anything but the idea, the concept. You don't have any physical property, but you've got the branding. You've got the creative work that has value. So when we're thinking about this idea of branding, let's don't forget about intellectual property. And I've got some examples here of common examples of IP. Copyrights. That would be books, art, videos, music, photos, films, software code. All of those things are protected. Now I know with artificial intelligence now, AI, stealing some of this content and using it to train their models, it's going to be a big mess until they get that figured out legally. Because these AI companies are mining the intellectual property of others and using that to train their AI models without permission. And I don't know how that's all going to work itself out. Trademarks are also an example of IP, which would be logos, slogans, distinctive packaging, etc. Trademarks, and it's easy to get trademarks these days. You can go online and do it fairly easily. Patents, trade secrets, design rights, the visual design of a product. For example, the shape of an iPhone. So, intellectual property, big part of our brand, because we're creating all the time with our branding. We're creating something that's got value, so we've got to keep that in mind. Topic of the week is branding. And we talked about how branding is a result. It's not a particular logo or it's not a design. It's not a fancy schmancy website. It's the result of all of that activity. It's the result of everything that surrounds that idea, that company that you own. And you're not creating one brand, you're creating millions of brands, because everyone's got their own opinion. Everyone's got their own take on a brand when they see it. And you want some examples? You don't think a brand reaches people in different ways? Take a look at these examples. Look at Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel was a brand, a well-known brand. What happened when they tried to change the logo? They tried to remodel the interior of their restaurants. What happened to their brand? How were people's perspective of that brand? How did it change? Boy, you talk about a big mistake Cracker Barrel made. They didn't understand the power of branding, evidently. It's mind-boggling to think that these smart people sitting in these boardrooms of big multi-million-dollar corporations don't understand the power of branding. Did they not have someone come along and say, now wait a minute, if we start changing our perspective here on branding, we're going to change the logo a little bit, and we're going to start changing the interior, isn't that going to have some sort of an effect? And of course, Bud Light, the infamous Bud Light fiasco, when they brought Dylan in to be their spokesperson for Bud Light, boy, they walked into a mess as well. What happened to that brand? How much money did they lose? And how much damage was done on that brand by making that mistake? Now, I've got Tesla down here as well. You don't think you could have a negative effect on your brand personally? Well, what effect did Elon's activity in the political realm do to his brand, Tesla? What happened to Tesla stock because of the actions of Elon? Elon Musk became political when he bought Twitter. That started the ball rolling. He became controversial, and then all of a sudden he became active on the right with Trump. And what happened to his stock? What happened to his brand? And the reason I've added Taco Bell here is because of personal experience. When I see the Taco Bell brand, all I can see is me at the toilet throwing up. Sorry if I'm so graphic here. A few years ago, I went to a Taco Bell and got a burrito and a couple of tacos and took it home for supper. And within a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours after eating, I became deathly ill. Food poisoning. I felt like I was going to die. I've never been so sick in my life. And I still remember the experience. The food poisoning was so bad, and my stomach was hurting so bad, and I was throwing up so much that I actually passed out. I was sitting on the toilet 1 minute, and the next second I woke up on the floor. And in 10 minutes, 15 minutes had gone by, and I had passed out dead cold on the floor. And I was sick as a dog for a good 24 hours, if not longer, before things started to ease up. And I got food poisoning. The only thing I had eaten all day was that burrito and those tacos. And I got on Google, and I Googled Taco Bell food poisoning. And I found out that I was not the only one alone. I was not alone. I was not the only one who had experienced food poisoning with Taco Bell. So don't talk to me about branding without me thinking of my own personal experience with a major brand and how I perceive that brand now. So a brand is much more than just a logo. It's much more than just the design of your website or whatever you might want to call product design, or the looks of my products, or the quality. The brand is a result. Branding is a result. It's a result of what happens. It's a result of the actions of the employees of that company. It's a result of the company's reputation. It's a result of the culture that's within that brand's company. It's their core beliefs. It's their values. So when we're thinking about building our personal brand, we've got to get serious about thinking about these issues and how important it is to think about our own personal values and goals and belief systems and how we're going to let our personal brands reflect that. I do have a video by Chris here that I wanted to share. This will help us a little bit. Just to reboot, my name is Mitch. I'm coming to you live from the Lamppost Coffee Shop, Austin, Texas. We come to you today and tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and then starting next week, we'll come to you Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we talk about social media, we talk about YouTube, we talk about anything you want to talk about. So come along for the ride. This is Chris Doe. Chris is an Emmy-winning designer, and he has become quite prolific in his YouTube presence, and he is an expert on personal branding. And so he's got a few things he's going to talk to us about, this idea of building our brand.
And let's just get right into it. So what is the authenticity gap, and why is it hindering your personal brand? The authenticity gap is this invisible distance between who you really are and the person that you show up to the world to be accepted. You might not be faking anything, but you're definitely performing to a degree. You're adjusting how you speak, how you dress, how you express yourself, how you show up in the world to fit into what people already think and want from you. And over time, this creates a personal brand or impression of you that looks right on the outside, but feels really wrong on the inside. And here's the danger of this. If you pretend long enough to be someone else, you forget who the real you is. And this all comes from a deep-rooted fear of not being loved, not being accepted. And this is the root cause of why we show up not as ourselves. So here are 5 common signs that you might be in this authenticity gap. Number 1, you feel drained after making content. You're like dreading it. And after you're done, you're just like exhausted, depleted of energy. Number 2, you procrastinate posting because it doesn't feel like you, because it takes a lot of effort to pretend to be someone else. Number 3, you're second guessing your tone, your message, your vibe, your everything. It's just like, are people going to like this? Are they going to ignore this? Are people going to like me? Are they going to think I'm a fraud? Number 4, you attract clients or followers that feel like the wrong fit. And although at the beginning it might be nice to get followers and the attention and the reach, after a while you're like, this ain't my tribe. Number 5, your growth is inconsistent. Even though you're doing all the right things, you're following all the trends, you're doing as prescribed, but it's just up and down, the peaks and the valleys. Now,
all right, there's 5 things. For those of you on YouTube, I apologize. We're watching a video by Chris Doe, and you can't see it, but he's giving us, he's talking about here 5 things that affect our personal branding. He's calling it he calls it what's going on is a authenticity gap. There's a gap, there's a gap of space between who we are, really who we are deep down in our thoughts, who we are when we're at home when nobody else is watching. There's a gap between that person and the person that shows up in public. And that gap needs to be closed if we're going to be effective on social media. We need to come across that authenticity gap. We need to close it. And that authenticity gap is created by our fear, for the most part. Fear that we're going to be judged. Fear that nobody's going to like us. We try to become somebody we're not because we want to be accepted. We're afraid people are going to reject us. And the whole idea of closing that authenticity gap is to be comfortable with who we are, accept who we are, and have a little bit of self-analysis and a little bit of self-acceptance, and really not give a damn what people think. That really is what it boils down to, is you finally get to the point where you say, I'm old enough, I'm an adult, I am who I am, and I'm trying my best to grow and learn and become a better person, and I don't give a damn what you think of me. Because when we start caring what people think of us, then we begin to try to put on these facades. We try to start behaving in a different way that's unnatural to us. We think we can become someone we're not in order to become more accepted. But the bottom line is it's just impossible. We are who we are. Especially when you get to my age. God almighty, I'm 67 years old. Do you think I'm going to change now? Do you think I really am going to change who I am? Don't you think it's a little bit late in the game for me to start trying to become something I'm not? So I don't know what age that reality sets home with you, but I don't know when it's going to come across to you to accept the fact that you just can't change who you are. You are who you are. You're pretty much, and studies have been done on this, and you can certainly do the research on how much of us, our personality, how much of how we think and our values and our core system of values and our beliefs and our personality, all of that is pretty much cemented in us at an early age. And instead of accepting it, we try to change it. We try to become people, we try to become something we're not in order to make people like us. And so when you're thinking about personal branding, there's this gap that may exist between who we really are and who we try to show up as when we're in public. And people will see right through it. People will somehow find out that you're not exactly who you appear to be. So get real, people. That's what it comes down to. We got to get real. Well, let's talk a little bit more about this idea of personal branding. All week we've been talking about it. We've looked at it from a different point of view each day. We started off Monday talking about personal branding and knowing who you are, accepting who you are, and this idea of the authenticity gap. You need to be authentic, and you need to understand who you are and accept who you are and let that be a part of your brand. That's where the branding starts. And then we talked about how a personal style can help us, how we style, how the clothes we wear, the way we speak, the color of our thumbnails, the color palette that we use for color of our thumbnails. I'm not talking about fashion here. I'm talking about the thumbnails on YouTube. You know, what color palette are you using? What fonts are you using? What design of the thumbnail are you using? All of that stuff is style. And the style of brand. What's your logo look like? Does it reflect your personality and your brand? How good is the logo in reflecting who you are? How does all of that match in terms of style? And then we talked about how consistent we need to be. Yesterday we talked about how consistent we need to be in our storytelling and in our style. We don't need to come across as 5 different people. We need to decide who we are and lean into it and be consistent across the board, across all of the various platforms and social media. We need to show up and be who we are, and that's what we're talking about today. We need to show up the same everywhere. We don't want to confuse our audience. We don't want to confuse our clients. We don't want to confuse those who are our loyal fans, our followers. They need to know what to expect when they watch a video that we create. We don't want to surprise them. So here are some things we can think about when we're talking about showing up consistently on every platform, showing up everywhere. For example, the tone. Is the tone, message, and bio all aligned? And this is something that I'm going to struggle with, because when I'm on all 7. There's 7 major platforms. Can you name them? I'm on all of them but Snapchat. I'm really not on Snapchat that much because it's so confusing on how to use. I haven't done enough study and done enough work on Snapchat to understand how to become a presence on Snapchat, but I'm on all the others. I'm on all 6 of the others. And if I look at those 6 platforms, if I look at my presence on TikTok and on LinkedIn and Facebook, does everything look the same in terms of my message and my bio? Am I getting across the same idea in terms of my personal brand? We want some consistency across all the platforms. So I'm going to have to go to Instagram, and I'm going to have to go to X, and I'm going to have to go to TikTok, Facebook. I'm going to have to go to all of them and try to see how I'm going to become more consistent, because I can tell you right now, I'm a little bit different on all of them. I use a different photo. I use a different description. I'm using different emails. I mean, I'm all over the map, so that's something I'm going to have to work on. And in terms of the brand, am I saying things, the same thing in different ways? How consistent am I? Do I have a tagline that I can use on all the platforms that will tie me together in terms of my brand? The next one here is matching usernames and visuals. Is everything easy to find and recognize? Can someone move from YouTube to Instagram without getting confused? Well, on X, my username is Uncle Mitch. Well, what in the holy heck does Uncle Mitch have to do with my presence on YouTube? I've got Even Rabbits, and I've got 2 other channels, and you can see how crazy this is. I've got Uncle Mitch on X, which absolutely has nothing to do with my brand. If I'm trying to indeed build a personal brand, so I'm going to have to change it. And on Instagram, my username is Aiken Images. Well, what in the holy heck does Aiken Images have to do with Uncle Mitch? Or, for that matter, my YouTube channels, Even Rabbits, etc. You see how screwed up this all is? Well, in terms of building our personal brand, we need some consistency here. We need to somehow bring all of this together and make our personal brand really solid. Do you think McDonald's does this? Name a major brand that is this crazy. If McDonald's was on Instagram, on X, on LinkedIn, on Snapchat, I mean, would McDonald's have all these various different names and all these different usernames? Of course not. Avoid confusing your audience. Is your message scattered or is it unified? Boy, right now I'm scattered all over I'm scattered all over the place. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if I'm going to build a personal brand, once I decide on what that is and what that's going to look like, then I may have to go into each of those platforms and set up a different account than the ones I've already got. I may have to go back and just set up a brand new account under all those platforms and come up with usernames that are all similar and are addressing my brand. That may be easier than going through here and changing all of this stuff. Maybe instead of changing Aiken Images to some sort of a brand specific name, I may just go in and open up another Instagram account. Start from scratch with a new brand name, username. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think? Let me know what you think. Jump into chat. Say something in comments. Let me know you're out there. People trust what feels stable. Does your whole online presence feel like one person or three? Cross-platform consistency. Here's your checklist. Same photo, same color scheme, same tone of voice, same purpose, etc. So that's how we will solidify our personal brand. That's what will help get us where we need to go in terms of developing our personal brand, our personal presence online. And so I can see right now I've got a lot of work to do. Because when I was opening these accounts, I've had these accounts on X and Instagram and LinkedIn. I've had these accounts open for years without a personal brand. But now that I'm thinking about I need to maybe create a personal brand, I'm going to have to go in and sort of bring all this stuff together. And I'm thinking it's going to be better just to open up a different account. And if there's a platform where I can only have one account, now I don't know about X. Can I have more than one account on X? If not, then I may have to change it. Change Uncle Mitch to something that's more decisive in terms of the brand. But I know on Instagram you can have more than one account. And on TikTok I think you can have more than one account. So that shouldn't be a problem. Facebook? I'm not sure about Facebook. Facebook you can have a Facebook page, which is basically a separate account. So I think Facebook wouldn't be a problem. So the idea here is to show up the same on all these platforms, everywhere. And if you do any kind of print media, if you print posters or do any kind of t-shirts or do anything that's going to try to promote your brand, you're going to want to be consistent. You're going to want to pick a color scheme, which we would call a palette. You want to at least pick a color palette and a font. and stick with those. Those two things will go a long way in solidifying your brand. And I have not done that. I've got to do that myself. Now, my thumbnails on Even Rabbits, I've tried to bring all of those together under one font and one scheme, one design, one thumbnail design. So I'm working that, I'm getting toward that direction. I'm working on it. Well, I hope some of this makes sense. Is any of this making sense, or am I just talking out of my nose? I hope it makes sense. We can only hope. I'm sorry for you guys on Facebook. You're not able to see me scribble all over my iPad. But maybe you can listen to what I'm saying, and it has some meaning. Come over to our YouTube channel. Watch us on YouTube. We're at Even Rabbits, on YouTube. And there. Yeah. All right. Let's reboot. Let's reset ourselves here. My name is Mitch. Coming to you live from the Lamppost Coffee Shop on a Thursday afternoon. It's 2:45 Central Standard Time. We've been going at it now for 45 minutes. The Facebook feed may be a little slow. It's still showing excellent on YouTube. I haven't had any latency problems on YouTube. Looks like it's streaming okay, but Facebook, Facebook is always a little persnickety. And the streaming on Facebook may be a little broken up. It may be a little hiccupy. May have some latency issues. I don't know what the problem is with Facebook and why their frame rates and bit rates and all that kind of stuff get so screwy. I guess they just don't address, they have so many people going live, so many people using their platform that they've got a very narrow window of availability for kilobytes per second, feet per second, frame rate per second, video bit rate. I mean, it's probably because I'm streaming both on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. That's probably what's happening. So if you're seeing some latency issues on Facebook, I apologize. Nothing I can do about it. I'm fixing to say goodbye to you guys on Facebook anyway, so this is your last chance. Come on over to YouTube. Join me on YouTube at Even Rabbits. And because here in about a minute or two, I'm going to have to shut Facebook Live down. Looks like we're getting some activity a little bit on Facebook. So we'll see. Well, I'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're on Facebook, I'm going to have to say goodbye to you right now. But sorry about that. But if you want to hang out with us tomorrow, we'll be right here, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday tomorrow. So join us then. All right. Go out and have a good day, you people on Facebook. We'll see you later. If you're on YouTube, hang around. We're still going live on YouTube for right now, for the next few minutes. So we have ended the live stream on Facebook. And so now we're just on YouTube. And we'll see what happens over the next couple of minutes here, a few minutes. We'll see what are we going to do next. What's next on our agenda? We're just sort of hanging out, talking about whatever you want to talk about, talking about personal branding. And let's see, let me look at my notes, see what else we got going on. Well, I do have a couple of videos. It's very interesting. I've got a video here that I want us to look at by an older woman, and she's put out a remarkable video that's gotten a lot of views. Here she is. She's got a channel called Unshakable Me. Unshakable Me. And I want you to look at the numbers on this video. Came out 3 months ago, and it's got 393,000 views. That is a hell of a lot of views. Almost 400,000 views. And we're going to take a look at the video. It's nothing but her talking into the camera. And the title is, "It Took Me 50 Years and Losing Almost Everything to Realize What I'll Tell You in 10 Minutes." And I've seen other videos pop up on YouTube that have copied this title. I saw one this morning that said it took me 20 years, and it took me 20 years and something to relate what I'm going to tell you in the next 10 minutes. So someone has already stolen her title, stolen her format, and made their own video doing something similar here because they saw how many views that her video got. So they thought, well, shoot, we'll just copy what she did and make our own video. So we're going to take a look at it here. It's a 10-minute video. We may not go through the whole thing, but I want you to look at it and tell me, what is it about this video that received 393,000 views in 3 months? What is it about the video that has resulted in that? It's really amazing.
What if the things that you're chasing, success, achievements, the perfect person, perfect job, the perfect location, aren't really going to bring you joy, aren't really what life is about? My name is Heidi, and in this video I want to share with you what I've learned in 50 years and losing almost everything to chronic illness. I used to think that living was doing. And from the moment I got out of bed in the morning till the moment I fell into bed for years and years, I was in constant motion. I didn't have time to slow down, to contemplate life, to think, am I living my story or am I living someone else's story or society's story? And then I got sick, really sick, over 10 years, and lost almost everything. I lost my career. I lost all the achievements that I had strived so hard to achieve. And I couldn't drive. I was in bed most of the time. And when all those labels are stripped from you, who are you?
Okay, what do you think so far? What do you think of her screen presence? I mean, it's nothing remarkable. She's just a very nice lady standing in this grassy field, talking to us on camera in a very authentic, heartwarming, real, she's real way. And she's talking about being sick and how being sick has changed her life. And so she's going to hit home emotionally with a lot of us, a lot of people. And it's remarkable because this is showing us that we don't have to be, a fancy schmancy video. We don't have to have all the fancy music and all the fancy special effects. And I added the text up here, Unshakable Me. That was done by me. She didn't even have that. This was just the video that she put out. And she doesn't move. She spends the entire 10 minutes right here just talking to the camera. And it's really quite remarkable.
It was a really dark time for me. And it led me on a journey of self-discovery that has been the most unexpected and amazing thing in my life. So I want to share with you some things that I've learned through this journey. Number one, if your body or your mind is telling you to slow down, listen. There were so many opportunities for me to slow down before I got completely leveled, but I didn't listen. And I kept going. And that's when it took a massive toll. I believe that you will pay for what you're living, how you're living. Second is, instead of thinking about what's next, think about what's now. I was 3 steps ahead of where the present moment was when I was running. And what this has taught me, this whole experience has taught me, is to be in the now. Because when I'm 2 events or 3 events or 3 steps ahead, I'm not living in the now. And also, that is where anxiety is. That's where fear is. But in the now, it's not. Because so much of my illness, and I had anxiety about getting worse and what every symptom meant. And all of that was in the future, which hasn't happened. And right now, yes, there's discomfort, but there's also a lot of other things there too. So live for now. Be all in for now. Instead of looking at what you don't have, which is exactly the way that we culturally are conditioned, right? To look at what we don't have so we can strive to get that. And that's going to bring us X, Y, and Z. But it isn't true. Look at what you have now, what you have in this moment. I took so much for granted. When I lost it, I thought, wow, I should have been more grateful in the moment. And now I am grateful for so much. I have a really close friend who's 90. Maybe you've seen some of our videos with Marvin. And he lives in assisted living. And he tells me about the people with Parkinson's. We're just getting a meal or a fork to their mouth. It's so huge. And it's exhausting and it's so hard. When's the last time you thought about eating, being present for a meal, and thinking about the gift of being able to pick up food with your fork and bring it to your mouth with ease? We don't think about what we have until it's gone. But have gratitude. Look at the abundance that we all have, no matter what your situation is. I couldn't see anything but my illnesses. They were so consuming. I didn't realize that I had so much to be grateful for all around me.
Okay, what do you think? She's hitting some lessons here that we all are aware of. We've all heard these lessons. He's not telling us anything we don't know. So I want to know, what is it about what she's saying that has emotionally connected with people? To get 430, almost 500 or 300, and what was it? Almost 400,000 views. What is it about? What is it she's saying? What is it that is causing this to be so popular? And you would think it's because she has some sort of profound lessons that she's teaching us. But she's basically telling us things that we already know. She's hitting on the same notes from a song that's very familiar to us, about slowing down, about appreciating what we have, about living in the now, living in the present. These are things we are all familiar with. So what is it? What is so special about her? What is going on here?
Step outside your comfort zone. I do in some areas of my life, and other areas have been more difficult. But I have pushed myself so far out of my comfort zone. Like doing a video like this would not have been the old me. But I feel so passionate about what I want to share with the world and what I've learned, because it's changed my life in so many amazing ways. And if I can feel this way, everybody else can feel this way. And I think it's what the world needs right now. This connection. It doesn't have to be a big thing, just a nudge, just a little challenge. And it makes you feel so good about yourself when you do it. Just the effort, just the act. Don't worry about the outcome. It's just the effort. For the people in your life that you appreciate, tell them you appreciate them and what you appreciate about them. It makes them feel really good, and it makes you feel really good. And the more, the better. And last, I'm going to close with, you are enough, and you were born enough. And I didn't feel that for my first 50 years. And let me tell you the truth. Just saying it, okay, I'm enough now, after 50 years of believing otherwise, it doesn't stick. It doesn't feel authentic. The way to feel enough is to be kind to yourself, to give yourself compassion every single day, and to believe in yourself, to accept all of you, and to keep feeding that enoughness every day. It's like a living organism where you have to nurture and cultivate it and pull the weeds of negative thinking and your internal critic, where you think, okay, I may be a little bit different than everybody else. That's okay. I love that. I want to be different. I don't want to be the herd. I want to be me.
I don't want to be the herd. Don't want to be part of a herd. I want to be me. Well, I'm just curious. What do you think? Let me know. What is it about this particular video that hits home? I mean, the message is nothing we haven't heard before. But I think she says it with such sincerity and with such authenticity and such kindness that, you know, it really is remarkable how a video can have such impact, with almost 400,000 views in 3 months. And so many of us content creators would kill for 400,000 views on a video, to have a video go viral. So I don't know what the answer is. If I were to ask you to try to analyze that video and try to figure it out, I'm not sure there's an answer. And perhaps that's the problem, is we just have to allow things to unfold. We can't always figure things out. What is it about us humans where we have to have an answer for everything? We have to be able to figure things out. We have to look at a video that goes viral and want to write down the reasons so that somehow we can try to replicate it, instead of just letting things happen. Things happen. There's a certain serendipity to life that we need to accept. And when I see a video like this, I've seen a bunch of them, where it's just a person talking sincerely to the camera and showing their feelings and sharing their innermost thoughts, and are closing that authenticity gap that we were talking about earlier. Closing that gap between who we are when we're at home and nobody's watching, or when we're on the sick bed and we feel like we're dying. Who that person is, there's a gap between that person and the person that appears in public. And I think this woman closed that gap, that authenticity gap, to the point where her video went viral over a 3-month period. She's got almost 400,000 views. It really is amazing. It's remarkable. And it shows the strength and it shows the uniqueness of YouTube. Where else in the world would you and I have the ability to have that sort of an impact and the opportunity to do this for free? All we have to do is turn on the camera, look it straight in the lens, and just talk. It really is amazing when you think about it. Well, I'll be back tomorrow, Friday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, from the Lamppost Coffee Shop here in the Austin, Texas area. Thanks for being with me. We hope you have a good day. Go out and be kind to somebody today. Do something nice for somebody, okay? And we'll see you tomorrow.
And when you So